type of church? Was you Baptist, Pentecostal, Apostolic?
Non-denominational.
Non-denominational. Okay.
Yeah. But you could say it was. We called it an evangelistic church because we believe in message out, of course. Okay. So but it was non-denominational, which I later learned that is a denomination.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I say. They always say non-denomination, but when y'all come together, non-denomination is a denomination.
100% is.
100% is. It's just another name for it. You say we not, but you know, but y'all really are. That's all I'll tell you. Really is. So did you see a lot of shouting, speaking in tongues? You know what I'm saying? And you was a part of that.
No, never did that. And
you never shouted?
No, I never shouted, man. I guess my thinking of it was that it should be something that you don't do on your own.
Right. Yeah. Most definitely.
I believed that everybody was doing it on their own, so I didn't think people did that for fun. So I wasn't new to church. I was new to church. Right. I didn't grow up. So I remember like I grew up around family members who did go to church every Sunday, and they would play church and be shouting and stuff and make it look really like they shouting. My cousin, I had a cousin, a homeboy cousin. He could do every shout of everybody at the church, and it looked just like it.
Right.
I can dance my tail off, but I can't fake shout to save my life. I don't even know how to get the rhythm right. But I thought that that's something that happened. Now I'll tell you this. My walk in religion, most of it was me being discouraged because I had not like passed out and fainted before. And I have not actually been moved to shout where I didn't have control. So I would often pray to God like, yo, what's wrong with me? Like, I want to speak in your heavenly language. But now they do altar calls and call you up. For anybody who want God's heavenly language, come up here. Now they would encourage me to start speaking already, just start saying stuff and let it flow. I can't do that. And it's crazy.
No, that's not how that's supposed to be.
I read the book. I read it. Like the difference between me and most Christians around me, King, was I read that book.
Right.
So when they would tell me that script, that speaking in tongue was just utterances of the mouth, I would tell them, no, it wasn't. Like in the Bible, when tongues were mentioned, they were speaking other languages, but weren't privy to the languages. So they didn't even know what the language was they were speaking, but it wasn't actual language.
Right.
So that's
actual language, right?
Translator. So if you were truly speaking in tongues, it would be an already established language, and you would have a translator. But guess what? My church ain't have a translator in sight, man. Man, you could say about anything, and they would believe it and think it was really shouting. You see what I'm saying? So it was very. Shout about a higher. I should have bought a Honda. Like you hear these people jokingly say about how shouting should sound.
Yeah.
That's how my church was. But at the time, I wasn't used to it at all. So I believed in it. So I wanted that. But when I went up there and they'd go, yo, just start uttering your mouth. I'm looking around them like, I'm not doing that.
No, you just don't start uttering, man.
You lack faith. They would blame me for that because I wasn't willing to start it. They would say, you lack faith because you don't trust God to take off with your tongue. Like, no, that's crazy.
Once you get filled, it's going to happen on its own. You don't do anything. The Holy Ghost does it for you.
That's
I got filled for real. So I know that experience. I got filled over. As a matter of fact, it was last month, the 27th was what, 15 years? I know it's real. So whoever he was, I apologize that you even had to experience that. So so you got called, you felt you was called into the ministry. How long were you a pastor?
Let's say I pastored for about 4 years. But
about 4 years.
I always try and offer clarity to guys. I was a youth pastor of the church. My current pastor passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Wanted to say, like losing my father, man, he's like my daddy. So I love my own father, a personal father too, for all of you guys, so you can understand. I wasn't raised under my father. He was under a spell. He was raising other people's kids, but we have a great relationship now. I have forgiven my father. No hard feelings.
That's
but
good.
This guy was like my father figure. So losing him took a lot from me. But so what the ministers would do is take turns teaching every Sunday. I would get the fourth Sunday, which was the youth Sunday.
Right, yeah.
But what would happen is people would pack the church out when it was my turn to speak. They felt like my messages were fresher, that they were more detailed, because I would really truly read the Bible and try to break down, divide the word properly. Like it wasn't anything like they had saw before. Right. And so people would start coming from around to hear me speak. So they started asking me to speak even more. But I wasn't the pastor of the church. I was the actor.
All right, got you.
So they still own that church, and they still own that church, I believe, you know?
Okay, all right. So you said something that was key in there. You said that you forgiven your father because he was under some type of spell. And I know I watched your live earlier today, and you were saying that he took care of other people's kids, but he didn't take care of you guys.
Right.
So how did that work out? Because I mean, that does seem like that's a lot of time, because a young man needs his father.
Absolutely.
So how did that turn out for you?
Mother, which was his mother. So we lived with his mother. So we did get to see him when he came to see his mother, but it wasn't that often.
Right.
I can remember going and spending the night with him sometimes, but I rarely got to see my pop. And I would actually have to write him letters just to try and talk to him. You see what I'm saying? And he lived probably 30 minutes up the road, and I would have to write him letters. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Often when we did see him, it was just to come and give us a whooping, because grandma would just call him to come and punish us. So I didn't really have my father. When I did get to go with him for Christmas, we would get 1 or 2 gifts, but his other kids that lived with him and the woman would get everything. So to us, it just break our heart. Most of the stuff he got is stuff we was asking for. So it'd be like, yo, we asked you for the truck. Like, how he get, like, and he got an excuse on why, like, it's just stuff that breaks your heart as a child.
Yeah,
and
I can imagine.
When I say he was under a spell, it's because he thought he was doing the right thing. He's with this woman and got her kids, but he doesn't see that she isn't too happy about when we come over, which is crazy. Because he's raising her kids. You think that she would say, man, let your kids move in. Let's all be a family. Because we're living with his mama. Like, that wasn't cool. But, you know, I have no judgment for him now. I understand that he didn't really know. We had a conversation about it when I was an adult. And I finally asked him. We worked at the same company. And I ended up being his supervisor. Okay. And he was just telling me that he was proud of me. And he was telling other people in the job that he was proud of me. But it was coming off like, I raised that boy. And I was just offended by it. And I went to him like, I made me. You didn't make me. You wasn't there.
Right.
And then he was just like, man, you get what I'm saying? I'm proud of you. And I'm like, but man, why wasn't you there for me? And he goes, my daddy wasn't there for me. And I said, and how did that feel? And he started crying. I ain't never seen him shed a tear in his entire life. And that's when I knew at that moment, it just didn't click, man. He only was repeating the cycle. He had no idea that he was breaking my heart. He forgot about that. So like, as children, we raised up and we hurt by some of the moves our parents make.
Right.
But by the time we become adults, we become our parents. And we start believing that's how you're supposed to behave. So we end up doing the same thing to our children, which creates the same cycle, man. So his daddy wasn't there for him at all. So to him, at least he was 10 times better than his daddy, because at least I knew who he was, and he came to get me every now and then. So to him, it was like, yo, I tried my best and you got complaints?
Right.
And even now, my children haven't lived a day without me, but they'll come to me and be like, Daddy, I feel like you could have handled me better in this situation. And I'm feeling like, man, I would have thought my kids wouldn't have no complaints about me, because I've been here every day and I've never left them. But I try to tell parents, yo, that's heartbreaking when your kids are judging you. But I try to tell them, yo, it's gonna happen. So just try and listen to them, hear them, see if they make sense. Because their job, man, is to take it a little further. And maybe we aren't doing everything right. Maybe we don't know it because we've seen a lot worse. See what I'm saying? So we gotta listen to it. And it don't agree at all. It break your heart though.
Yeah, it does. Totally agree.
First of your kid telling you let them down, man, when you know you love your kid. So I be feeling like, man, people don't even do for their kids. But here I am doing for my kids, and I got to hear from my kids that they ain't happy. Yo, that's heartbreaking. You see what I'm saying?
Kevin, are we the same person? Because you saying some of the exact same things that I've talked to my friends about, where me and my kids have these same exact conversations.
It's amazing,
and I buy y'all this. I took y'all to Disney. Take y'all to Busch Gardens. We go, y'all get good report cards. I pay y'all to do this. And y'all still feel like I ain't doing.
Because they buying them. It's like when you tell them, yo, because your daddy didn't, you like, my daddy didn't do this for me. I do this for y'all. But in their mind, holding that over their head. So it's like in their mind, they want you to be emotional. But that's the thing you was raised to not be. Like you're trying to stoic for them so they can see what a strong man look like. But now they're like, yo, you're not really showing me that you love me because you're not being emotional. You're like, yo, I don't know how to be. What have you considered that when I grew up in the 80s, I was raised to not cry? Now I'm trying to do better than that. So I'm telling you it's okay to cry. Right. But now you're trying to teach me that, but I can't learn that. That's crazy.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Because you telling them, son, it's okay to cry. And they saying, well, daddy, it's okay to cry. And you like, no, it ain't. It ain't okay for me to cry. It's okay for you to cry.
So let me ask you this. Since the cycle keeps happening,
Mhm.
Do you honestly believe that's what's going on with our black men? The cycle, and because bro, we see kids fatherless all the time. And it's like even with the women, they have the babies. Before they have the baby, they're broken up. And it's like, hey, well, I don't know where he at. I ain't worried about him. It is what it is. And again, you have the second baby, and it's the same thing. The third baby coming, it's the same thing. Like, what? And then they get offended when we say like truthful things like that. Like, hey, come on now, you got to wake up. The cycle. What's going to break the cycle, bro?
Changing your ways. Do you know how in the Bible, when it's like God is saying to the people, you ask me to heal you, but then you go and eat poison.
Yeah.
You ask me to grow your food, but you don't take care of the land. You see? Remember when the Bible's God said, it's when you turn from your ways.
Yeah.
Only then will I heal you.
Right.
So your healing is always up to you. Now, do you not know all these churches who go eat bad food, but go right to church and pray that God heal them? Now, all of these people that are in the church, they don't practice money management. They just believe that if they tithe, it'll be pressed down, shaken together, and running over, given back in return. But their reality ain't showing that. And they're still taking their money to those preachers. I didn't say don't believe in God, but why you believing in these men still when you're not seeing those words come to fruition? So we create our culture because we believe there's hope in these things that we're doing. But these things that we're doing are only burying us deeper. So when you have a woman that is saying, buy me a bag, instead of spend money where I could, or instead of let's spend money in a place to where it can be useful for the family,
right?
You have a broken woman. And when you have a man that's doing the same thing, he is broken. So when you have a family and you're going out and buying things that make you look good, but you're not investing them into your family, you can't really expect your family to grow. But it's really simple. I believe in the universal God, and I believe that nature is constantly teaching us how to be. And being that you got to grow a seed to get a harvest, and one never seems to come first, you got to know your harvest comes after you planting a seed. So you got to be doing something. But what is most of our community doing except for destroying the community? How many men you know will say, well, I wouldn't marry her, but I'll sleep with her? But that creates a single mother, right?
Right.
And exactly. They don't want to be single mothers, but they're the ones creating them. So all these men out here who are saying, I can't find the wife, we say that men are the access to marriage. So right. If a man is the access to marriage, why don't he have a wife? Go get one then, sir. Because you can go overseas and get a wife. You can go to the church and get a wife. You can go find you a wife inside of 6 months if you truly dated with intent and found you a good woman.
They even got it on the internet now. You can order you a wife too, y'all.
You can go on the internet and find women with the right values if you want to. If you really truly wanted to find a wife, but instead you at the club, you're lying. You don't want no wife. Dude, your actions show what you want. You see what I'm saying? The decisions you make every day is what's creating your world. So if you say you want to be rich, but you spending money, do spending money make you rich?
Not at all.
No, it makes you broke, right?
Right.
So spending money looks like saving money. Spending money, getting rich ain't fun. So people think about the goal of being rich and they like, oh, I want to be rich one day. Well, getting there is going to be a very boring process, sir.
Man, put that on a shirt. Getting rich ain't fun.
Ain't nothing about it.
Owning a business ain't fun. Being an entrepreneur ain't fun. It's a lot of work into it. Man, man.
You ever had a bunch of money in an account and wanted to go spend it just because you just wanted, like, it's frustrating to have money and not spending it when you used to not having money. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's so you got to change, you got to really change your mind, your mindset. See, media, man, and unfortunately, the way our parents were raised, so the way they raised us, it trickled into how we think and every decision that we make. So in order for us to change our decisions, you got to change your mind. And you got to put that work in before the decision is in front of you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, Simp 7, man. Thank you for watching this interview. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting on this channel. I really appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please click that button right down there. Don't wait till your homeboy blow up. You wait. Go ahead and participate and become part of the Unmuted family. We greatly appreciate it. We work very hard to bring you good content and stories that you probably never heard of before, and a little something to make you think about the Lord a little bit and laugh a little bit. All right, guys. like, click, share, comment. Don't text me. Put it right there in the comments. Simp 7 out.